Confirmation now that new NHS guidelines will allow women to choose whether they want to have a caesarean or not. But with those C-sections costing hospitals 3 times as much as a natural birth, there are concerns the NHS could struggle to fund with the extra financial burden. Our health correspondent Thomas Moore has been investigating.
Just out of the operating theatre and a chance for mother and baby to have their first cuddle. Like a quarter of babies, Florence was born by caesarean section, planned in advance for medical reasons and all over in less than 20 minutes.
To actually deliver your child naturally, I think would be it's quite special, so it would have been nice, but obviously I'm happy to go along with whatever I needed because it was medically right.
Even when there are no medical reasons, some women want a caesarean but have in the past faced a reluctant medical profession. Now, safer surgery has prompted the National Institute of Health and Clinical Excellence to rethink its guidelines.
People aren't always informed of all the facts and what the risks might be. If at the end of the day, having had everything explained, the balance of risks, a woman still was clear that she wanted to have a caesarean section, then the guideline would support that choice.
If that leads to an increase in caesareans, there will be financial implications. A normal delivery costs an average of £1,665. A caesarean is around £700 more at £2,369. And every 1% rise in the caesarean rate would add more than £5 million to the NHS bill. NICE insists there won't be more women demanding a C-section. Not all obstetricians are so sure.
There's no doubt that the extra caesarean sections will put pressure on theatre time, on ward space because they stay in hospital longer. It's more expensive, so it's a pull on resources, and it has an implication for every pregnancy they have in the future.
Caesareans carry a risk of bleeding and infection for mums and breathing problems for babies. Normally, doctors wouldn't even consider a medical procedure unless there were good clinical reasons. These guidelines change that. We've all read in the magazines about celebrities who are too posh to push, and some women have very different ideas now what they should experience in childbirth. And that is a challenge for the NHS.
So they send me a frog.
Rhonda McDougall had to battle to have Alyssa delivered by caesarean. She says the NHS has to move with the times.
I didn't want to be treated like I'm an idiot person, ooh, hormonal woman, she doesn't know what she wants, and being told this is how it works, this is what you were made for, just do it. I was informed and exactly what I wanted. I came across the website that I read everything up about. I knew exactly the pros and the cons, and that was my choice.
Rhonda got the birth she wanted and hopes other women will now have the right to choose.
This one go.
Thomas Moore, Sky News.
So the debate for and against. Joining us from our Central London studio, Kate O'Donovan from Mumsnet. In the studio with us, Pauline Hull, founder of ElectiveCaesarean.com and the author of a new book on caesarean.
That's right, choosing caesarean, a natural birth plan.
Right. So why are you a supporter, if that's the right phrase, of caesarean section?
Well, I'm a supporter of informed choice, and so that there are some women obviously who want to plan a natural birth, and there are some women who want to plan surgery. And I think this is a great step forward with the NICE guideline that finally women, whether it's for tocophobic reasons, they've got a fear of birth, or whether they've weighed up the risks and benefits and decided that they want to. We often talk about the caesarean being for non-medical reasons, but actually a planned natural birth has what NICE refers to as downstream issues. For example, a woman might end up incontinent if something goes wrong, or she might end up with pelvic organ prolapse. There could be injuries to the baby. Stillbirth is another risk. So there are risks. We've just got to recognise that there are risks with a planned natural birth too.
So it's not an easy versus a difficult
it's not.
option.
It's not one is necessarily now best or safest than the other, and that's why the element of choice needs to come in.
Right, Katie, one assumes that most mums would want the choice, but you think maybe they should be better informed?
I think what's key with the decision that in the NICE guidelines is that actually it's not a glib choice, it would be a properly informed and supported choice. And actually most parents, most prospective mums know that caesarean is often not the easy option, but what they can do is make an informed decision, understanding all the risks and benefits with both options, and not be left in a situation where actually they feel they know what's best for them, but they're having to beg a medical profession to back them up. And I think that's what's so helpful about the NICE guidelines, is that the Royal College of Midwives already say that this should happen as best practice. At the moment we know that's not the case across the country, so this does give parents a real sense of support in knowing what will be right for them in conjunction with the medical profession.
But Pauline, what about this awful phrase, too posh to push? I mean, is there a danger that a lot of mums will be thinking, well, this is the modern way to do it, this is what all the celebrities are doing, so this is what I must do?
I think we need to draw the focus away from what celebrities are doing and actually look at what doctors and the wives and partners of doctors are doing. Actually, higher percentages of those are choosing to have a caesarean with no medical indication when you compare it to the general population or indeed celebrities. So it's easy to look at celebrities who may have actually had their caesareans for medical reasons, we don't know.
Yes.
But I'm more interested in what the doctors are choosing to do, and as I say, higher numbers of those are choosing to have the caesarean. So this is not a whimsical choice that a few of us women are making.
Although obviously there's an issue about the cost, which we'll come to in a moment, but we're getting plenty of reaction on this as well, Sergio, in the emails.
Yeah, we are. Let me just give you a few examples. This is from Karen White. She says, I can't understand why a woman would choose to have a caesarean. I've given birth naturally and my third child was born by caesarean due to being breech. It's a major operation, not to be taken lightly. I could hardly move to pick up my baby and had trouble walking for weeks. Lucy in Derby says, I'd like to have the option actually. I've heard so many awful stories about natural births on the NHS because of a lack of staff and beds that I'm worried is actually more dangerous than a major operation. And Caroline is a midwife. She says, how about spending the money on more midwives and maternity wards?
Good point. Actually, Katie, what about that? Should perhaps the NHS put a lot more money and effort into improving the midwifery service rather than the choice?
Well, I think that, you're absolutely right, that you can have the best guidelines in the world, but if there aren't the right staff around to support them, they're pretty meaningless. And actually, the Royal College of Midwives have a campaign at the moment for extra midwives that's got significant support. And I think that's something that absolutely parents and people preparing for labour will tell you, particularly those mums who've perhaps had a natural birth and are preparing for their second labour. And if they've had a really tough time in the first one, the right support, the right encouragement, the right kind of conversations can actually give them the confidence to have a natural birth or to choose a caesarean, whichever is right for them, but there absolutely must be the right support and the right staff to do that in the first place.
Katie and Pauline, we'll have to leave it there. No doubt there are lots of other issues, lots of other emails coming as well, and we'll address those a little later. Thank you very much indeed for your time, because we've got to talk about the sport now. Here's Jack.